you have also been the type of leader in front of your organization that has received the British Empire Medal that has been given to you by the Queen, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II herself, right? It was in 2016 when you have received this honorable medal. And then throughout this few years that have followed after, there have been a myriad of achievements along the way. Can you shed some light around what do you think resonates with the society? Why do you believe that they care in the way they do?
I never deviated from our vision and mission. And when you set up the example, build this bridge of integrity, transparency, and do what we say we're doing, they build a relationship, a trust. And that trust somehow has its own voice.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to introduce you today to a new topic, the topic of volunteering and how it can change the lives of many. And not only will it be helpful for your CV, your background, to show that you are the one who cares, you are the one who puts that extra value, benefit into the community, into the society, in order to be able to develop a thing, a cause, a natural value for people around you. And for that, I'd love to nurture a little bit a topic here, something that our guest today, Victoria Dunford, has come to share her point of view and her value into things, as she has helped a lot of projects in Moldova, a country where we are both originating from. I'm saying this proudly because Victoria has been here for over 10 years, making sure that children in Moldova, maternity units of the hospitals in Moldova are being revigorated, that they get the repair that they need via the tools and the more prosper environments that she can deliver as the NHS professional who comes with the wise approach to helping the others in our country of origin. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
Absolutely, and I believe that the story is the key element into this because you couldn't have made it happen if you didn't have that element of belief, if you didn't have that care that I think it's written all across your posture, and it comes with a lot of effort. And the way you've done that is by involving the societies from the UK who care as well for what happens outside of their own country. Let's hear a little bit, starting from the very beginning. What are some of the 3 words that characterize someone of your value? Can you describe yourself, please?
Mad, probably, because it's not just because my dad is making a difference, but over the years we have proven that we became quite mad to undertake the challenges and the projects we undertook. Determined will be another word will characterize and passionate about what I'm doing. So anything, doesn't matter if it's home or it's in my work or it's in my mission, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. And if I start something which I think it needs to be done, but I'm not passionate, then never happens.
Thank you so much for the answer. I can definitely see it through, and the fact that, through your mission and vision, you have made a lot of these projects happen. We've just discussed before the interview today that a lot of the projects that are being done in both countries are the ones that you've initiated out of pure belief that things can be done. And at the time, you might not have had the support that you have at the moment, and yet this has not stopped you from making things happen. How do you do that? Can you shed some light where this idea originated from? What was your mission at the very beginning, to which I know you have stayed true over the years, against the temptations that many are facing still? And yet, where have you come from with the idea that stemmed from, and what is it, the mission of it being now?
I was probably lucky to found this mission in very early stage of my life, I think. It was a stage when I never had experience, never had money, never had any kind of knowledge. All I wanted is to transfer 30 beds, which the NHS here would have thrown them away. And they were like new. And I knew the beds, like rusty beds in Moldova hospitals, where the wires are sticking from the mattresses, and that was reality. So I thought, how wonderful it would be to transfer these 30 beds, make a ward in Moldova where my mom can be a patient, and change one ward in a one hospital. I never realized that this mission will snowball and will go where it is. But speaking about volunteers, I was very, very lucky to have a first three trustees who joined the mission of Mandate and still on the board now, 12 years later, as volunteers. So those were my first three volunteers, a professional, uh, let's say, British people who joined my mission and they believed in what I wanted to do. And plus my husband, obviously.
That's highly inspirational because when you think about where you've been at the very beginning of your journey and what has happened throughout this journey, you have also been the type of leader in front of your organization that has received the British Empire Medal that has been given to you by the Queen, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II herself. Right? It was in 2016 when you have received this honorable medal. And then throughout these few years that have followed after, there have been a myriad of achievements along the way. Can you shed some light around what has helped you get this visibility? Because it was also the BBC that has talked about your project not only once. It's been a lot of other media that has been visualizing and helping get the message through, not only in the UK, but also in Moldova. What do you think resonates with the society? Why do you believe that they care in the way they do?
I think because we followed our mission. As I said, as we spoke before, I never deviated from our vision and mission. And when you set up the examples, when you are building on integrity, we come from Moldova. I knew exactly what the British donor were expecting, and I knew exactly which country we're coming from. So build this bridge of integrity, transparency, and do what we say we're doing. They build a relationship, a trust, and that trust somehow has its own voice. So I never expected all the awards I received. I never worked for them. And I believe strongly that if you work to get the awards, you never get them. This is how I believe. I think if you work for your mission and vision, those are come alongside. Obviously, it was an honor when I received a British Empire Medal, but again, it's because we worked very closely with Moldova Embassy in Moldova. We worked very closely with different alongside the governments, alongside the international organization to make the most impact in people's lives. I believe in partnership. I believe in collaboration. I don't think we work for Victoria to get a medal or we work for Medal to get recognized. We work for the people we are serving for. So if you work with the beneficiary in mind, if you work with people who are helping you in mind, not with yourself, I think eventually you get all sorts of recognition, awards, and most important, you get the impact and the difference we are making in people's life.
Thank you so much for shedding the light into this, Victoria. If I was to make a step back and put myself in the position of an observer that we've discussed most recently, I would say that getting alongside you people from the private corporate sector to support you is probably a very hard stepping stone into the journey, because ultimately you need to make the mission very clear. They need to be able to believe in this in order to supply you with the funds that you need ultimately. And then, as part of this second fold of the question that I have for you at the moment, is looking into this as your achievement, being able to get them alongside you to believe in the cause and then to supply for you the funds. Can you tell me what were some of the key accomplishments you've reached along the way, and how are you now leading your strategy into the 1,000 donors that would be able to then supply you the funds as a £1 a month type of support? Can you let me know what's needed to be achieved yet as well?
Yeah, so when we started recycling the equipment from UK to send it abroad, Moldova obviously was the most important country we are sending it, but we've done in past to Romania, most recently to Ukraine. But to recycle this medical equipment, we are saving the landfill, we are helping the environment, and we are making impact of people who cannot afford this kind of facilities. So as UK and as a taxpayer, I used to be frustrating what kind of equipment we are taking away. As a Moldovan, obviously, I was happy for this equipment that ends up in Moldova. But then we realized it's a win-win situation, because as a British citizen, you want to go in hospital and have more top facilities, and the innovation will develop if you take the old one away.
Yes.
And in Moldova, they will get another 10 years life of this kind of equipment. And we save the landfill, we save the environment, we recycle, and we making a circular economy in one way. And by delivering this kind of equipment, we are pretty unique. And then we delivered a lot of wheelchairs, and we saw so many children isolated and they are so clever with no education, no inclusion, no education. So we developed a center for them. So we have a unique center with services in Moldova for disabled children, for elderly as a placement,
Excellent.
with a hydrotherapy pool. So this complex, it's unique in Eastern Europe and not only, and we had some British officials coming and our donors and seeing these facilities in Moldova, and now they asking me to bring the concept back to UK because we done the Center for Disabled Children without thinking that um, based on donation. So I realized one day if I die, the center may die. So I developed a social enterprise, which is a care home, very like a model for the country. Moldova doesn't have any more care homes like this, but it's a social enterprise. So it's for cost and the money to support the Phoenix Center for day
Mhm.
center. So it becomes sustainable. What I didn't realize that the connection between disabled children and elderly is so powerful that puts another value to the Phoenix. So that's why the Phoenix complex is really unique. And then the developing the healthcare, donating them equipment is one thing, but giving them training and infrastructure, like changing all the electricity, everything to renovate them on UK standards is another thing. So we started rolling this kind of program. So if we have, my dream is, as you know, is to have 100,000 donors who donate £1 a month. And with this money, we can refurbish one ward which will save 800 children's lives every single year for a decade to come. So the impact is not for one child, it's not for one day, but it's for so many years to come. And this is what mandate is different, I think, because we are looking on long-term impact
Mhm.
with a very little money. So to make the funds last as long as possible and help as many children as possible.
Thank you so much for the answer, Victoria. It really helps understand the amplitude of your project, the size of the mission as well. And when you're talking about the long term gain for the beneficiaries who are multiplying because the needs are there, they're not going away. And it's the
Unfortunately.
case of trying to be aware of what's happening, but also trying to source for them the necessary equipment. And can you please, for those ones who might not know all of the context or all of the background that we are a little bit more familiar with coming from the same country, Moldova, can you let our audience know about what it is like to be born and raised in a country such as Moldova, where there are not always a lot of equipment that are fit for purpose, where mothers are exposed to facilities that are already outdated. How has that helped you frame the story to make the others acknowledge that the need is probably that high, the deplorable state where they're in?
To be honest, yes, I'm coming from Moldova, you coming from Moldova, but probably none of us knew how deep the problem is until you actually go in the system and start working in that kind of environment. The renovation we've done in a newborn surgery ward is the only ward in the entire country on a main children's hospital, equivalent with Osmond Hospital in London. So it's the main children's hospital for entire country. The only ward, no private hospital has this kind of facility to do surgery on newborns. So they do surgeries on 600 grams baby, on 1 kilogram baby, the children who were born with some kind of conditions. And we delivered there some equipment, and the tiles were falling from the wall on mother's head, on baby's head. That was a shocking reality. You walk in and you don't think, and as my husband said, it's like a Second World War in UK were better. And originally I said to him, "Oh no, you English, you are spoiled." But over the years, I realized that that is the truth. Uh, and then you realize you can't just take the tiles off and put new tiles and it'll look nice and it'll look shiny, because probably will look nice and shiny for a little while.
Mhm.
But the electricity behind, the pipes behind, those is where actually danger is. And we had many cases where the fire started in hospitals just because the electricity is so dated and so old. And we had good hospitals in the 80s, in 70s, but now they're so much outdated because there's no infrastructure. And I don't think it's Moldova country fault. I don't think it's a state fault. I don't find the fault in someone. I think it's all of us collectively. We have to connect and refurbish and do them. We have good doctors, and we have to keep the doctors in Moldova. We have good nurses, but they don't have means what to work with. New surgery ward we want to refurbish this year. Next one, the doctors was saying to me, until a few years ago, they had to use the construction tools for the surgeries because I never had the medical tools. Because normally
It's unbelievable.
a medical drill is a drill, but it's a
Mhm.
medical drill. And
Yep.
a construction drill is also a drill, but it's different between those two. And this kind of, and they still, I worked in NHS in UK, and I knew you open a brand new scissors, you cut the bandages from someone and you throw them away.
Yep.
And it's unbelievable. In Moldova, they still have to sterilize most of the things, so they don't have this luxury with things to be. And it's many cases of infection and aftermaths of a bad conditions. But we can make a change, we can make a difference, and this is what we're doing.
See, that's what I find highly enlightening. The fact that, in spite of you seeing the complexities that you're facing on a day to day when you're there, seeing all of the difficulties that the medical personnel, the medical staff has to face daily, and you're yet having this enthusiasm in yourself to say that we can make this change, right?
Amazing.
Can you now tell us a little bit and probably give some numbers from just to put into perspective the size of the mission, as we have alluded to earlier, in terms of what type of funds, or if you're able to do some, or share some numbers, or if not, just give a glimpse into what has been achieved so far and what were some of the key achievements you think or accomplishments that have been able to be sustained by this?
Yes, over the years, we invested over 6-7 million pounds into Moldova. We have saved from landfill about 250 tons of equipment, of very useful equipment, and there will be about, 3,000 beds, about 2,000 wheelchairs. And we speak about numbers, and we all like numbers, and I am analytical, I've done
Mm-hmm.
analytical chemistry. But what we forgot about, behind every single number is a story.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say 2,000 wheelchairs didn't end up in a skip in UK, those 2,000 wheelchairs give a fresh air, give a light, give a life to 2,000 disabled children and adults in Moldova. And this is where the really impact is, because that kind of thing for someone is alive. Uh, and I saw this over and over again on the children born with disabilities at 30 years of age, when they were already youth. They never been out of a house, like very, very rare when someone can carry them on their back to take them out for fresh air. And here, a wheelchair will make that kind of difference. A simple wheelchair, let alone the hospital bed. So the impact is much more bigger than the numbers. The Phoenix complex is about 1.2 million investment. Then it employs 49 workers, specialists like trained physiotherapists, speech and language therapists. The hospital project, every single ward cost us about 250,000 euros, so about 210,000 pounds to refurbish fully and equip. So that comes from, as I said, from the new electrical cable, new pipes, new infrastructure to profiling beds and equipment and all they need. So uh, we worked very closely with NHS on Isle of Wight, because they had some infrastructure projects, some money injected in them. So I worked hand in hand, because Moldova still doesn't have standards how to refurbish a hospital fully.
Mm-hmm.
So they were my advisor and my mentor. Uh, and for the same kind of capacity, the way we refurbished the hospital in Moldova, it took the NHS, I think, 5 million pounds to refurbish one ward like this. So
Wow.
for some manual can make much more impact in Moldova, obviously because of the cost of the labor and so on.
That's a priceless mention. Thank you so much. It talks about the efficiency, I would say, coming from my marketing background and working as well with substantial funds. I know that being able to creatively spend your funds in such a way that you can make big differences means a lot. Now, looking into your eyes, I can definitely feel the fact that, you're a true believer in your cause. You have seen things happen. And if I may to refer to your description from LinkedIn as how you position yourself, you're saying, I'm a leader full of determination who makes the impossible possible. And in true perspective, I feel that all of the description that you've just shared in terms of the funds, the achievements, the accomplishments, you have put it quite spot on here in a framework by saying that the impact is much bigger than the actual numbers that we're talking about here. Can we dwell a little bit into that and give a few examples from your experience of the notes of gratitude that you received from certain families that you have completely changed their lifestyle from where they were when you first touched base on it? And show us, how do you make the impossible possible?
Oh, so many stories. Is few of them who marked us forever, like the child who received the first two children who received the first two wheelchairs, maybe because we were much more present in the moment
Mhm.
to say to. But one of them say, "Thank you for my wheelchair. I can see the trees, not just the leaves from my bedroom window." So that is you can speak about without tears now. But at time, and another child say he dreams of the world with no stairs. So only thing we dream about so much, and all he wanted a word because we are very, very rich in stairs, and especially in Moldova. We have many, many success stories like children coming with different illness and they start walking. Children never been in water now because of swimming pool. All the children from our center who are in wheelchairs, all of them are walking in the water. All of them are swimming. So, uh, children who couldn't speak, and then after 3 months of therapies, they went into mainstream education because they start talking. Children with autism. Uh, we have so many, many successful stories, but also what I like about the mission that we impacted so much, encouraged, inspired other organization, other people to start organization, to make the impact, just to prove to them it's possible. And yeah, I believe it's actually Nelson Mandela quote, always seems impossible until it's done. But I do believe in this because I think if we put our mind to something, we can make it happen and we can make a difference. We just have to concentrate on our mission and don't deviate.
Thank you, Victoria. And I think here is where I recollect there was a phrase that your partner, John, your husband, would have told you once at the very beginning when you were saying, "Oh, I've got this idea in mind. I want to make it happen." And he replied back, I think at the time, saying, "If not you, then who?" Right?
That was first word, yeah, first praise on we started the charity. When I came from enthusiastic, I want to
Yeah.
send 30 beds, and they say, if anyone can do it, it's you. Uh, and then when we went to we first struck in Moldova, and we visited the hospitals in a very dire condition, the care homes, and he said, "We stop." He said to me, "Victoria, impact. It needs everything. We can't. We are two people, full-time job. We tried, but we cannot do it anymore." And then we visited Alexandru, who said about the wheelchair. He can see the trees. And John looked at me and said, "We have a choice. They don't. Let's not stop while we have this choice. Doesn't matter if we help one child or 10 children." Sorry, I'm very passionate and I can't stop talking about this.
Tell me about it. No, I feel like we're only scratching the surface, if anything, with the, and it's inspirational to start with. You can tell that I'm already, tapping into, trying to feel what you had to deal with simply by looking at the complexities that you were facing at the time. What I'm curious about, and sometimes it's the case of complacency. I'll tell you what I'm coming from, or where I'm coming from with this. When I refer to complacency and the comfort of living in your bubble, right? We are all, I suppose, to a degree prone to that. Probably that's why at the very beginning, when you've seen the complexities and you've seen that you're only, dropping a tiny spot in the ocean, and the ocean is as big as it is, so what can be changed, right, with tiny steps out there, and yet you haven't given up. To me, it's the case of how do we make more of the people in the society become close to the traits, behavioral traits that you exhibit, so that they can renounce the comfort bubble and try and do a little bit more of the voluntary work, or something that they could then be proud about in their lifetime and say, "Hey, aside from me living in my day-to-day bubble, I've actually been able to contribute to something really big." What do you think needs to happen in the mindset of people to help them follow that?
First of all, I think education is
Hmm.
the base on everything, and I'm not talking about universities or colleges, but actually the inspiring people too. And the second thing, what I believe is changing people's mind, and I saw this over the years, is setting the example correctly. So
Hmm.
while once you set the example, it's hard, and I'm still working on that to acknowledge and to get into people's mindset that 1 hour of volunteer is so much powerful for an organization. £1 a month is so much powerful. It doesn't, because a lot of people don't donate £1 because they feel embarrassed or ashamed because it's not enough or it's not a lot. But actually, for any organization, £1 a month from a lot of people is so powerful because you can make an impact. And when you what we try to do, and I've done this on every single project, at the end of project, I'll have an acknowledgement. Like, for example, on hospital project, we have a tree of gratitude. So we have a tree with leaves for every single donor who donated monthly donations or one off. In the swimming pool, we have a tiles, one wall with tiles for everybody who donated, because this is legacy. This is when their children will go one day, or someone. I want them to feel proud. And this is what people have to understand. A small amount makes a big difference. How to get the people to out of a bubble? It's a little bit harder, but again, I think with setting the example correctly and proving it's possible, then slowly you open those kind of comfort homes zone.
Thank you, Victoria. And I think just talking about some of the skill set, because obviously the Future of Skills podcast is all about that, uncovering the skill sets that are valuable in the age of AI, that are valuable to those that are going to watch the episode later on and to be able to get some inspiration from it and to see where they can focus their attention on in order to develop some more of that. So my question here would be, tapping a little bit more into your childhood. I'm very curious about what made you who you are today. Can you shed some light in terms of, the Victoria that we know today? We know she's empathetic. She's able to inspire the crowd. She's able to set the right example for everyone, right? But aside from that, who has contributed to your development, to this instilling of those skills that you exhibit today?
I think I always have been a little bit different, and going to school in post-Soviet Union country where we went to school on the language change and everything else, I always asked too many questions. So for was not very okay to ask so many questions. I asked the question from teacher. I used to fight for my grades because you had that saying in Moldova: the top grade is for God, the second top grade is for teachers, and the third is for students. And I used to fight, and I say, no, the grade has been done for students. It's not been done for teacher. And this fight is sometimes got me into trouble, but it sort of built my character. Another thing, I believe in books. So I do read a lot of books, and I believe that more you read, more accomplished you become. Is the horizon expands, and so I always was a reader from young age. And I used to fight with my mom because my brother had a lot of books in Cyrillic alphabet. I could read in Cyrillic, but I wanted the books in Latin languages. And I remember when first book came in Latin language, God knows how much cost. God knows how my mom managed to buy them for me, but she bought them. So, and I still believe in reading and developing my skills even today. Networking events, mentoring. I do tend to get attached to mentors who are not mentors. So I will see someone who done something very, very inspirational in their life, and I will try to pinch, to steal from there an hour or two, whatever they can give me, and learn what they learned. Because I think those are most impactful mentorship you can get, because the people who build and set the examples, they can share something with you more than the books can.
How interesting. And that's more of a closed loop to me, right? You're trying to get from people something that you can't get from books necessarily, when you know that you can consult books for advice too. Can you give a few examples, please, of books that have inspired you in one way or another, or that you remember now, or that they can come forward to you when thinking about, oh, that's a book that, has an impact on me?
Oh yeah, very many. I liked the traction. Right. I read the books so to anything in my life. So when I started the charity, I never had any experience on how to fundraise, how to start a charity, So I used to go to Moldova and think, okay, this skills is missing. So I came back and I do a webinar or read a book.
Yep.
And then I thought on 20 of this September 2015, when we opened the Phoenix, if I die, I left something behind. And then I realized on 20th of September 2015, I worked up with 16 employees. So I wasn't a manager, I wasn't a CEO. So you have to learn new skills, how to manage the employees. So in different part of my life, the books who really marked me was Tribe. It's a very good book, how you build tribes, how you build the community around you, and it's extremely good book.
Do you remember the author by any chance?
I don't. It's very, very long time
search this
ago.
one.
But how to win influential friends. Don't give up. No, don't give up. Don't be afraid. I think Carnegie wrote
Carnegie.
it. Yeah, I think.
Dale Carnegie.
Traction helped me recently very well for managing the teams and stuff like this. So Nonprofit Leadership Lab as a book for nonprofit. So different stages in life, had different books who really marksman. But I do like a lot of autobiographies. So I probably read many autobiography of all the rich people in UK, like
Tell a few examples,
Lord
please.
Sugar,
Uh-huh.
Richard Branson.
Uh-huh.
I went on another side for like Victoria Beckham. So I try to go from different to understand the mindset. So okay, those are business people who started
Careful
from
thinking.
nothing.
Yep.
This is a sort of posh lady who got from another background,
Perspective, yeah.
another perspective. The footballers, so different the championships. Nelson Mandela is one of my mentors. I think is a mentor you never will meet, never met, but his books, his path and his quotes are very, very powerful because he taught us again, as I said earlier, education can really change the world.
Victoria, this is so priceless.
Thank
That
you.
no, honestly, and what I like about what you just said is your open attitude, right? When what I find priceless for myself is, especially when I'm trying to as well, consult and help the other youngsters when they're preparing for their careers in tech in particular, is when I'm saying you need to get yourself a little bit more open in terms of analytically understanding what's missing in your current skill set that you need to get to know more of, right? Now, you've given us exactly that, an example of how you approach a given skill set, be it from the books, be it from, the mentorship and meeting with other people through networking and whatnot. That helps you develop that all-rounded approach of, and, filling in the gaps that are currently missing at any given point. So that curiosity, I suppose, is a sparkle to an extent.
Some way is curiosity, some way is needs, some way is understanding, and is you have to be very fortunate when you understand. And I feel sorry for people who think they know it all, because I think they don't have room for development, and they sort of they close their career before they start. And we always have to be a learner, and we have to learn because world is advancing very, very fast.
Exactly. Yes, indeed. And that's another good topic, probably for a separate new event that we can do altogether dedicated to that topic. But I wonder, from the perspective of someone who knows how much time it takes to read a lot, to get yourself informed, to contact, to be present at networking events and whatnot, let's step a little bit into your lifestyle. A person such as yourself, where do you find the time, please?
It's very difficult and it's very hard, and I'm very guilty for. I'm still working, and I've read many books on time management and time organization, and I think comes with everyday small steps every day. So you practice and very small habits.
Mhm.
It's very hard to find time lately, prioritizing. So I still haven't now find the personal professional life balance, and I'm very fortunate and very happy and very lucky, probably because my husband is very much behind my mission, and that's why it helps, but it's difficult. Time is difficult and it's a sore subject for me still now, but I'm learning and I'll be better one day.
Definitely, and I wish you all the best with that, because that way you can do more in the
Exactly.
same fashion of what you're doing now and even excel at.
uh, Recently I decided that I will start thinking how can I buy time, and people say,
Mhm.
oh, you cannot buy time, you always know how much money you got, you never know how much time you've got, and that's why I put so much um, appreciation for volunteers time, because
Mhm,
they
mhm.
give more than money. You can know how much you give time is, but in the same time we can buy time. So the things what some other people are best at, it's either you invite them to volunteer or you buy a time to help you. So this is how slowly I'll go to gain time by outsourcing some
So that's delegation, isn't it? Trying to figure
delegation.
out who else can help you with the mission that you still need to build, and that's definitely portraying a good light into what your day to day is looking like at the moment, right? Because there's never enough time to do everything that you've got in your pipeline. But it's good to know that the pipeline is there and is that big. So, tell me, please, now going back into your mission of the 100,000 donors a month that would donate £1 a month as the vision for the project as well. What are some of the key accomplishments you'd like to be reached with that funding?
So basically, the biggest vision, as I said, vision and mission of MedAid never change. We just expanded and projects are more concrete and more powerful. So, in my ideal world, by
Please, yeah.
2030, we will have Phoenix South and Phoenix Center. So we have Phoenix North. So
Hmm.
we have Phoenix South and Phoenix Center. So we can help like set a model, so hopefully after 3 of them, then someone else will copy the model.
Yep.
And I would like to be able to have all 5 strategical hospitals of Moldova fully refurbished. So no one word, not 2 words, but fully refurbishment. And this is the Mother and Child Hospital, which is, as I said, the biggest hospital in Moldova. The oncological hospital is the only one in entire Moldova. The Republican one, which is the same as Mother and Child, just for adults. The South Cahul and Belts in North. So it's 5 strategic hospitals in Moldova. I would like to see them on UK style, so to look like in UK. That will be my dream, my vision, and you can make it happen. You can join alongside and be proud of it.
Absolutely. And I look forward to see that happening, Victoria. And with your drive and, with the determination and with, the scope of growing the volunteering team alongside you, I'm sure that that can be a cause that many can align to. Can we discuss a little bit more into that? I'm not necessarily am looking to differentiate between the two societies in that sense, but from what you've seen that works at the moment, which are some of the type of support that you're gaining that is a little bit more stronger or resonating stronger? Is it the support that you're getting from the UK private sector and the public sector, or the local Moldavian public sector that is a bit more impactful?
For first 5 years was mostly UK, so
Mhm.
most of our donation came from British citizen, from British public, from, as I said, corporate donors, from trust and foundation. For last 5 years is about 50-50, 60-40%. So Moldovan, it's very encouraging to see the Moldova community trying to make a difference back home. The last project, if we check the last project, renovation of hospital unit, was 40% British and 60% Moldovan, other Moldovans from abroad were actually the companies in Moldova. So
Mhm.
the companies in Moldova start putting a big accent for CRA, for corporate responsibility sponsorship, which is also very encouraging, because if we connect the will and good of people with corporates and with authorities, so we can work together, then we really can make an impact, and Moldova can become UK very fast.
See, that's definitely a story where many could see a lot of inspiration coming from, in terms of you've got this, visualized a picture, right? So it's a case of helping the others to see that too. Now, I'd be very keen in terms of understanding from your perspective the type of the skills that you think you can pass on as a legacy, because you have mentioned the word legacy in our discussion so far so many times, which I totally appreciate, because it feels that wherever you're tapping into a project or another, there is this long-term element to it. So for that to be able to be instilled forward and for others to tap into the way that you do things, do you think there's room for you to pass on, because I believe in the power of exchange, right? So for you to pass on that know-how of how you do things for the others to benefit from, like be it the case of you teaching other charities of how to do things, or how to raise causes from the ground up, from the scratch onwards, and how would you then be able to amplify their causes forward? Do you think there's room for that you can move this onwards to the UK too?
Yes, 100%, and that's why I wrote the book in 2017, mainly to raise more funds. So the book was sold for raising funds, but also had this main aim to inspire others is possible.
Mhm.
Because in Moldova, when you start working in countries like Moldova, it's a lot of challenges, it's a lot of hurdles in a way. So once you pass them,
Yep.
you go one by one, and it's proven the result can be done. And this is, I wanted the people to understand, don't stop on the first hurdle. I saw so many organizations started from, like, say, from Italy, also by Moldovans, and stopping because these challenges. So I was trying to eliminate the challenges. I've changed a lot, I've lobbied a lot of laws and regulations to be changed on government level. But in the same time, I wanted people to understand, if the first door is knocked, will be another door where you knock a little bit harder. And that's why I wrote the book. In COVID, I've started, but I never gone back to it. It's to do an online training platform. I've
Uh-huh.
done many trainings for different NGOs, and while time allows, I'm still trying to mentor when they ask me for mentoring. But I've learned in my own time, and I know how precious time is. So I
Yes.
am learning online from different platforms, for online non-profit platforms. So I thought I'll develop one of these online non-profit platforms with trainings for NGOs, how you develop them, and the people can go and take the training when they need, how they need, and then we raise money for my dad as well. So we'll have a win-win situation. And I always say more people learn, more people will be open-minded, then more impact they will make and more people we can help. So we still got the same thing in the end, is to helping people, the same end mission.
Thank you so much. I see this as a very valuable satellite of the project. I'm calling the satellite because it's the mover that can help open the doors here as well. You know, it's opening the doors in Moldova, but it's also you passing on the know-how here for the UK communities and the UK organization too, which I totally find priceless, because you have been able to open some really heavy doors in your career time.
I had to.
Exactly that. It feels that, coming close to wrapping up the interview, we have come to a point where I now have it as a tradition to ask some flash questions to be able to shed some light into the mindset of my guests, right? Because the mindset is absolutely priceless when it comes to understanding the person and the behavioral traits behind the person that makes things happen. So with that, are we ready? Yep, excellent. And the first question is, what inspires you about the future, please?
How fast is moving technology-wise and how much can be developed. So if before the people are developing technologies, now somehow I think technology will develop technology and we will see used in a very correct and channeled way, will change our future very fast and hopefully for the best.
Fingers crossed on that one. Next one, please. What concerns you about the future?
Funny enough, is about the same thing. So first of all, what concerns me most about the future, we don't have strong leaders in the world. The world was built on the strong leaders before, and now I think the leadership somehow is not an authentic as used to be. So people sort of run to be a leader, to follow someone, but the power of leadership is to be yourself, to be authentic, and don't follow the herd. And this is, I think, concerns me more, but also the technology used in incorrect way.
Thank you. This sounds like a very good topic for a dedicated event on its own. So thank you. And please keep that on. The next one, please. What are you most passionate about?
Be helpful, to be able to help people.
Thank you. There was actually a book that Arnold Schwarzenegger has released most recently by saying be useful. So it's very much in line with what you were saying. Another one, please. You are most scared of?
Losing people close to me.
Thank you. Skills for life or skills for growth?
For growth, because you, as I said before, you have to always grow, and everything you learn you think is for life, and sometimes is for life, but there are times when you have to clean your memory like on computer and learn new skills to go forward.
Excellent, thank you. Next one, please. Your favorite quote?
As I say, it was now Winston Churchill, everything seems impossible until it's done, and I like very much one, and I try to inspire others to follow this quote from Jim Rohn, who says, "Don't wish that times were easy. Wish you was more skillful and more strong to face the times are coming." And once you learn this quote, I think you don't worry about anymore. Uh, n- Everything happens around us because at the moment there's a lot of changes in the world around us, and I think they have been before. We just need to become prepared and face them with new skills, new strength.
Sounds like it's very much in line with the mission of the podcast as well, the future of skills. So thank you for that. If there would be one thing you would like to change, what would that be?
Um, get rid of hate and jealousy in the world because I think this is really stopping people from, first of all, people who hate someone is stopping them from developing
Totally.
their own things. So I think somehow I'll get rid of hate and jealousy because it's enough for everyone, and we can help each other and make good life for everyone. But this hate is stopping, and it doesn't. If someone hates me, it doesn't affect me as much how much affects them, and this is I feel sorry for this.
100%. I totally resonate with you on that one. Definitely more positive thinking, better causes. And the very last one, but not the least, how would you describe your job to a 5-year-old, please?
Uh, I'm helping those who need help.
Okay. And the very last question is, if there would be one single message you'd send to the younger version of yourself, what would that be?
Well, don't compete with anyone. compete with yourself, become better version of yourself. You're right the way you are. Just develop and do it again, probably.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I'm very grateful. The final bit, as part of our conversation for today, if there was one thing they would want to pass on to the audiences that would be listening to the podcast later on, what would that be?
I'll take the opportunity to pass a question to volunteering, because we are on Future of Skills podcast. And volunteering for any organization, obviously, I'm passionate about Mandate, and now encourage to join our big family, because we say we build a family, not just a group. Volunteering is so much more powerful just by giving time. First of all, you get new skills, you get new connections. So we have volunteers who have been volunteers with us since they were 6 years of age, and now they are going to Kenya for their own projects, and they have access to the network and the community who will help them that dream happening. We had volunteers who started as a students, and thanks to the connection and the donors from corporate or in Med, they managed to get work experience, they managed to get employment. So the volunteering is so much more about just give, you receive so much more in back. And the same for donations. The Med changed my life before they change everyone else's life. The same, when you donate something, first of all, it changes your life. Same as volunteering.
Victoria, thank you so much. I believe it's really powerful what you are saying, and I believe that there would be a lot of food for thought for people to lean into, try to think into what makes them who they are now, so that they can do and become a force of good as you are today, and as I'm seeing you being today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks the same.